Good morning, students. Welcome back. Again we are here with our previous chapter in economics, that is sectors of Indian economy. Students, the subtopics which we are going to discuss today are divisions of sectors on the basis of ownership. Students, under this subtopic we will come to know about the different divisions of these economic sectors on the basis of ownership. Ownership means who is going to run these sectors. Now, on the basis of ownership, we will come to know about the two sectors of these economic sectors: public sector and private sector. Students, let me remind you one thing, that regarding this division of sectors on the basis of ownership, we have already done in economics, but there we discussed about resources, and here we have to discuss about the economic sectors on the basis of ownership in two ways: private sectors and public sectors. Later on we will discuss about these two sectors in detail. Now, second subtopic is different problems faced by the people in rural areas. Students, already with the help of previous lectures we came to know about the significant role of these sectors: primary, secondary and tertiary. These three sectors are working nicely in country India and are quite able to provide more and more chances of getting jobs for the people who are living in India. Even then, students, the people who are living in rural areas, the people who are living in backward areas, interiors or in villages, they have plenty of problems. They are not able to lead a good life, meaningful life or dignified life. How? We will discuss all the problems in our subtopic, different problems faced by the people in rural areas. Now, our last subtopic is various steps for government to take for the eradication of their problems. So, students, in third subtopic we will come to know about the different steps which can be taken by government to eradicate all the problems which are going to be faced by the people who are living in rural areas. So, what will be these steps we will discuss when the turn will be there of the third subtopic. Now, let's start with our first subtopic, that is divisions of sectors on the basis of ownership. Now, students, under this subtopic we will come to know about the different features of these two sectors, public and private sectors in country India. In our previous lecture also we discussed same thing but in different way. What was that? Can anyone be able to guess? Yes, I think many students are trying and many students have got the answer also. Really, students, in our previous lecture we discussed about organized and unorganized sectors. So, we can try to connect these two subtopics together. Organized sectors can be similar to your public sectors and unorganized sectors can be similar to your private sectors. So, students, we are going to discuss about all these features. So, this is very important subtopic, students. So, please be careful, be attentive so that you can understand easily. So, here we are going to start with public sector. Students, with the help of the word public sector, I think anyone can be able to understand which features can be here. Public sector. Public means people. So, if we are talking about public sector, it means these sectors which are included under public sectors are for all the people equally. So, here we can get our first point. public sectors work under the guidance of government. Students, this is the most important feature of public sector, that is, public sector is going to be run by government. The whole power lies in the hand of government. So it can be understood easily that if these sectors are going to be run by government, so obviously everything under these sectors will be favorable and beneficial for all the people equally. Now second is fixed hours to work. Again students, I think many students are going to remind the subtopic of previous session, organized and unorganized sectors. Really, you are absolutely correct. Now second point, fixed hours to work. It means the people who are working in public sectors, they have fixed hours to work. They do not work for extra time. They have fixed time. According to that time, they have to work. Next is fixed and sufficient salary. Students, it's also a very important feature of public sectors. The people who work in public sectors, they always get fixed salary which is quite sufficient for them, and the salary they get according to their levels. Students, in previous lecture also I told you, in these economic sectors many people work, but they work at different levels. All the people don't have same position in these sectors. They work according to their skill, talent, capability. So different levels are there, and according to these levels they get their salary. The salary of a laborer cannot be similar to the salary of boss. Really students, this should be accepted by each and every person of the country. It's the reality. Next is healthy and secure environment to work. Really students, this is also a very important feature of public sectors. The people who work in these sectors, they always get very healthy environment, very safe environment. The sectors which are included under public sectors, these sectors always take care of the cleanliness of the atmosphere nicely, so that their workers should not face any problem there. If healthy environment will be there for these workers or people who are working in these public sectors, obviously they will be quite able to work properly. If they will be able to work properly, so they will be able to contribute for enhancing the economic status of our country. Next is our private sector. Students, with the help of private word, you can understand what kind of sectors these private sectors can be. Now students, private word can tell you each and everything. Private means personal. It means these sectors are going to be run by individual owners, no doubt. It means there is no participation of government there in private sectors. Everything is in the hand of the individual owner. Now, first point, individual owners. Are you watching properly, students? Please be careful, be attentive. So the most important feature of private sectors is individual owners. These private sectors have their individual owners who run these sectors properly. Second, no involvement or we can write no participation. No participation of government. Students, this is also very important to know that for private sectors we have to include this point that there is no participation, no involvement of government. The whole power lies in the hand of these individual owners. Next, no fixed hours to work. It happens in these private sectors, the students, the people who work in these private sectors, they work throughout the day. Sometimes they have to work extra, overtime, but they do not get anything in return of that extra hard work. This is a negative point for private sectors. Next is no fixed salary. Sometimes it happens, students, in these private sectors. The salary depends on the production. If production is good, so workers are quite able to get good salary, at least sufficient salary. But if production is not good, so obviously the salary will be deducted. Workers will not get good salary. And sometimes what kind of problem they face? They become too unable to fulfill the requirements of their family members. So this is also another negative point for private sectors. One more thing I want to tell you, there is no stability of a job in private sectors. Anytime these owners can make workers out from their companies. And again, I want to add here that it depends on the production. If production is good, so workers can continue their work. If production is not good, so what's the need of hiring so many workers? Means individual owners think in this way. Next is ignorance of cleanliness. Students, this is also very important. This is also very important point that there is a kind of ignorance of cleanliness in these private sectors. No one bothers about that. What kind of atmosphere is going to be provided by the owners for these workers? No one thinks about that. It's also a very shameful point we can say regarding private sectors. Now students, we are moving towards our second subtopic, which is very important. That is different problems faced by the people who live in rural areas. That is very important and very common too. For many times we have discussed in different ways in different chapters. I think no one feel any difficulty when we will discuss about this subtopic. It's very easy and important too. Students, start thinking about all the different problems faced by the people who live in rural areas. Please start thinking, beta. I know that many students, they have already got all the points. Yes, this is very important. Different problems of people living in rural areas. Yes, students, the people who are living in backward areas or very interior areas or in villages, they face plenty of problems daily in their life. What are these problems? Lack of education. Really students, this is the most important problem faced by the people who are living in rural areas. They don't have sufficient money to send their children to school for getting education. And as a result, their children deprived from the facility of education. And, excuse me, they do not get the chance to work according to their will or wish because they don't have any kind of skill, because they don't get the chance to go to school for getting education. So this is a major problem. Next, lack of healthcare facilities. Students, this is another point which is here as the problem of the people who are living in rural areas. That is lack of healthcare facilities. The people who are living in villages or backward areas, they do not get the facility of good healthcare. They don't have good hospitals in their areas. So whenever they fall sick, whenever they suffer from any disease, they have to go to towns or cities, and it takes too much time. Sometimes they die on the way only. So this is a very dangerous problem which is faced by the people who live in rural areas. Next is lack of pure water to drink. Really students, the people who are living in rural areas, they don't have a sufficient quantity of drinkable water. They don't have pure water to drink, and as a result, they suffer from so many diseases which can be created by water pollution. Now, next is lack of jobs. One of the major problems faced by the rural areas people. What is that? Lack of job opportunities. Students, they do not get job in their own local areas. That's why they decide to migrate to towns and cities. They don't have number of factories or industries in their areas. So they move to towns and cities. Next is lack of equality. Really students, we should not ignore this point. The people who are living in rural areas, they are always ignored by the government. They always face ignorance of government. Government always used to focus on towns and cities and always ignores these rural areas. And the people who are living there, they face plenty of problems. Now students, we are moving towards our last subtopic, that is different steps taken by government to eradicate these problems. Steps taken by government to eradicate the problems of the people who are living in rural areas. So I think many students, they have got the points. Very nice. Now let's start writing the points. First, availability of education. Really students, education is mandatory for all the people to have as a right. Excuse me. So government should think about that. Government should establish more and more schools, colleges in rural areas so that the children who are living in these rural areas can get chance to go to school or colleges and can get the chance to enhance their skills. Many people who are living in rural areas, they have so many talents, but they do not get a platform to explore them. Education can help them very properly. Next is availability of health care facilities. Please students, pay attention so that you can understand nicely. So more and more hospitals should be established by by government in different rural areas, so that the people who are living in these rural areas can get the good treatment in these hospitals, so that they cannot be forced by anyone to go to towns and cities for getting good treatment, so that they can get good treatment in low prices. Now, next is establishment. Please pay attention. Establishment of factories in rural areas. Students, really this is a very important point which should be understood by the government properly, carefully. That is, more and more factories and industries should be established by government in rural areas, so that the people who are living there, they cannot go to towns and cities. They cannot decide for migration, so that they can settle down in their own areas properly. If they will have their factories and industries in their own areas, no doubt they will remain there only. They will not leave their villages. Now next is avoidance of inequality. Really students, this is also a very important point which should be taken care of by government properly in rural areas. That is, inequality, discrimination, prejudice, stereotype mentality. All these negative points should be removed by government from these rural areas, so that the people who are living in rural areas can have equality, can get equal chances to lead a very good and dignified life. So students, in today's session we came to know about the different divisions of the economic sectors on the basis of